Welcome back to Liverpool 12th Man Show. This is Liverpool 12th Man, and I hope that you are all well out there. I see that we have some loyal Reds. Appreciate it. Looks like Realism Jared and Abdul have joined us already, and that's well welcomed and well appreciated too, by the way. Big up to you both. And hopefully, we'll be having possibly some fellow panel members, also some other people to the chat to join this conversation because it is the international break. We are going to be, having plenty of time to kind of adjust to this new schedule that's going to be something that has us playing every 7 days as opposed to every 3 days, as which is what we were going through earlier this season. Now that we are done with the League Cup, now that we are done with FA Cup, and also now, unfortunately, that we're done with the Champions League Cup, there's only one thing that remains, and that is obviously the Premier League. And it's now something because this international break does have a lot of games that are important games for some respective nations that are some of our players are playing for, and it's going to bring up some questions. It's going to bring up some key insight to their form and how we hope that they can carry that form back with them to the team when they return. Hopefully, everyone does return healthy, and we can hopefully get a couple of players that are currently on the mend, either completely mended and ready to go, or even just in form, or get them into that rhythm that they need to be for the competition that we have, which is the ultimate competition for a lot of people out there, and that is the Premier League title. So let's just kick things off with a big one, I guess, a big subject or tight or a big subject of interest out there, and that is a certain player that might have had an audition against us. You know how we like to do at this club. It seems like if you do have a good game against us, chances are you might be playing for us at some point. So I guess we can get into the interest of ours in a certain Newcastle forward, and he's not. We're not alone in those interests apparently, and now there's Alexander Isak. Um, I know that it's not. I know that there's a lot of people that I get that Jared saying the whole "let's move on" thing, but it is a conversation piece that is being circulated out there. So um, please entertain me, or indulge me with this little bit of an episode here that we're going to do, or a little segment on what we're going to do. Now, let's just be honest. This lad has been tearing it up in the Premier League. He's got a 60% conversion rate on big chances, which is pretty astounding. Because that's you see the whole Cole Palmer doing the whole this stuff, whatever. No, that's ice cold right there. That is certainly on some Andre 3000 ice cold. But we've seen him again at his best. And that includes our own Roger Van Dijk, seeing him at his best, unfortunately. And he's proven to be a nightmare for defenders. So here's the big question. Liverpool apparently are interested in this player, but at what cost? That's the biggest question I have on the books here for us. And because Newcastle reportedly value him at over 150 million pounds, and he's on 120,000 K a week. So the 120K a week, that's not a big concern considering the high profile position he plays, the high profile player he is. But 150 million, that's a different story. We've heard all from anywhere from 120 million to 140 million to maybe even, like I said, over 150 million. And that's British sterling. I guess, is it really worth breaking the bank for Isak? considering the way we play, because it's a question I've had out there, and it's something that I've really, really wanted to. I've been emphasizing when I get into the conversations. When I'm fortunate to be on some of the panels that I've been on, or even the panels of my own that I have here, I often ask this, I think, important and very important question: is he worth breaking the bank for? Now, we've seen Isak play for Newcastle, obviously, and that's a team that, honestly, let's be honest, teams aren't setting up in the low block against Newcastle. They're just not. Most teams are coming out. Most teams today in the Premier League, something that I've been noticing a little bit more of is that some more of the teams are a little bit more of the trend is for some of these teams to go out and play more open and actually give teams a little bit of a run in the likes. But is Isak worth breaking the bank for when he is a player whose skill sets have been displayed on a team that, I see Nolate's with us, bringing Nolate too, on a team that set up to go up against teams with a focus on their striker being their main goal getter. Now, what you can say to this is, heck, they did the same thing. Chris Wood, for instance, right now for Newcastle, for Forest, is doing very well for them. It's extremely well for them. But at the very same time, because why I bring Chris Wood is because Newcastle did have Chris Wood temporarily a part of their club, and he wasn't lighting up the league the way he is for Newcastle, or for I keep saying Newcastle, excuse me, for Forest right now. But he is an out-and-out striker. Isak brings a little bit of a slight twist to the out-and-out striker. He's not so much so as a Chris Wood or something like that, but he still is a striker all the same. Because Isak can play on the wings if necessary. But why I'm bringing it up is the real question is he worth breaking the bank for? We have Nulante with us. I see that those in the chat are answering the question too. And again, I get this. It look past the whole part and point of whether this is a realistic get for Liverpool. Let's just have the conversation. It's just a conversation. That's all it is. Okay. So I'm going to bring in Nolante into this conversation. Nolante, how are you doing today?
Yeah, all good, 12. Yeah, bring up yourself, bring up the chat. It's break time and discussion time and a lot of things. We've seen a lot. I've seen a lot, as you know, I've sent in the group a lot of, we'll get into that later, but yeah.
It's international. You can tell it's international break time because the episodes and the likes are going to be different. It's not like we have a game to prepare for every couple of days, basically. It's going to be, we've got a little bit of a break till the Merseyside derby, and then, which is a big game, but I mean, it'll have you can't talk about the Merseyside derby for 10, 12 days or something. So it's going to be an interesting blend of conversation to bring in. But again, I'm asking an honest question. Is Isak worth breaking the bank for? Because what Newcastle is asking for will most likely be the Premier League record-setting transfer fee. It most likely will be. And is he worth that? Is he worth that? For us, is one thing maybe for the league in general, for meaning like whoever is going to get him in the league, if it's Arsenal or if it's another team in the league, or maybe even a Chelsea, I don't know. But is Isak worth breaking the bank for, Nolante?
Oh, again, it's hindsight. It's a 2020 40 hindsight question. Again, it depends. For me, hypothetically, again, and I'm going to link it to the contracts. If for some, hopefully we all hope it doesn't look likely, if all three of them stay in and we're going to get rid of Darwin and Jota, then for me, I would take a punt. I really would. And I know it would be excessive, but I'm just fully. He's kind of proven where he is, and him going to us will take us to another level. Certain games, the PSG games. I'm not saying it's the be and end of the PSG games, or again, if he was on the opposite side, as we saw firsthand, then we'll be having a different conversation for me. But again, if the players that we know, like let's just say Salah or whatever's going, then yeah, then maybe we'll just have to save the money for better else. But again, it's very hard. I mean, but I would, but it really is. It's the factors of who's going and how much we have in the kitty. So it's doing good. But for me, I believe if we've got all the resources and we need to get him and we sell our two strikers, then I know the extra is a bit excessive, but I just believe he'll be value for money for us in the long run, in my opinion.
Okay. Brian's with us as well. Big up, Brian. How are you doing today?
Yeah, well, how are you?
Making
doing?
another day in paradise as like on Phil Collins settings, right? I think that's his song, right? I think it's a song. Yeah, pretty sure.
Yeah,
Phil Collins, right?
yeah, that's an old Phil classic.
Is that it's I think it's his song when he was on his solo career, I think. So yeah.
Yeah, it's his
Just think
90s
twice.
homelessness ballad.
Yeah.
Exactly. Just think twice. Another day in paradise. Think twice.
Yeah. We're getting into this, this hypothetical talk. I guess if someone else has got another reference, someone's got to sell some 50-cent window shopper settings out there. But even though if that's the case or not, I don't know if it is or isn't. We're asking, is Isak worth breaking the bank for? And that's just for our settings. I don't know if you want to answer for another team, you can. But I mean, obviously, we're more interested in what would breaking the bank for. Would it be a feasible move for us to break the bank for Isak this year? Because it would also take a significant chunk out of whatever, quote unquote. I know people can get triggered by this word, so earmuffs, people, if these two words trigger you. But war chest, you're warned. You were forewarned. But if it is a knock, or would be certainly a dip into the quote unquote war chest that we would have for our transfer kitty, is he worth breaking the bank for, Brian?
He's breaking the bank. That's a tough one. It really is a tough one. I mean, the player is it's obvious what he is. It's obvious what he can do. I don't know if it would be a smart idea for us to go, yeah, to that level for him. No, as much as I'd like it, I think if we had to kind of go, yeah, like if you're saying kind of like if we're going to go there and say, whatever it takes, whatever the price, whatever the wages, we're gonna pay that. We're prepared to pay that. probably not, because I think the way we're working, that would probably, like you say, that would just be kind of, that'd be spending like 90% of your lunch money on cigarettes, and then leaving yourself with only, you know, a pack of chewing gum. It wouldn't make sense to me. Just not knowing the way we work in terms of finances. I don't think it would make sense for us to go out and spend that, what they're talking about, maybe 140. As much as I'd love to have the player, anything up to like 100 million, if we got like 60, 80 in sales, you're only talking about something like that. But going above and beyond, like, I'd love to do that with the player. But then if that was said to us, like, right, well, you've spent 90% of your budget on this one guy, that wouldn't make sense. I mean, to spend 90%, 80%, 90% of our budget on any guy, whether it was Isak or whether it was Florian Wirtz or whether it was whoever, I don't think that would work for us. Um, yeah, I don't think we're in for him. I don't think we're going to get him purely for those reasons. He's just going to cost way too much money, because they don't have to.
They don't have to
They
sell.
don't have to fold. They don't have to sell. They're not in
Right.
desperate straits that they need the money and all that. They can charge what they want.
Right.
So I think it would
And
put
it
us
could be even a
behind the eight
bidding
ball.
war, and it could be a bidding war for the player, possibly. Considering that
Yeah.
we're not the only team
Oh,
out there
hell
that
no.
are interested in his services, possibly.
No. I mean, we're obviously going to talk about, like, I know everybody has their own opinion, but to me, with the amount of people that, like, just forget Isak, forget the name Isak, but just what the amount of business or the amount of things that people are talking about us doing, what we need to upgrade or where we need to make changes or to make kind of refreshments, to spend a huge lump of what we have on one guy, as much as we'd all, I assume, well, most people would love to see us get the guy. I don't know. Just as much as it pains me to say it, I wish we could, but we
Mhm.
probably can't.
Mhm.
But no, unfortunately, I think we just got to be a bit more, cleverer than that, than going for
Okay.
the big dumbass, buying the most expensive car, or doing the most expensive thing, and then just having no money to put the petrol in the tank. It's kind of, yeah, it
Mhm.
doesn't add up. Like, when have we ever done that? We're not the kind of team that does that.
I mean, we came close. Reportedly,
Yeah.
I know people are gonna. Some people have their conspiracies, or they have their contrasting views on whether we really were or weren't. But we did come close to pulling that hitting that 9-figure deal, basically, before.
For Saicedo.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just that James Pierce thing today has kind of put me back a little bit.
You want to go ahead and
You know.
speak on it? Speak on that part if you want.
Well, just talking about how mentioning the fact that Liverpool have lost money, mentioning the fact that if we keep certain players, it's going to put a restriction on our wages. Mentioning the
Yeah.
fact that, if we sign players, we won't have a huge, like, our money will be tight again, is kind of what he's trying to hint at.
Mhm.
People need to be realistic in their targets, blah,
Mhm.
blah, 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 blah. So it
Mhm.
sounds like Liverpool
Like
are
this,
hoping to get a
yeah.
large sum in for Darwin Nunes and someone else that they can then spend that, which leans towards us not having a huge amount of money to spend in the first place. So
Mhm.
yeah, yeah. Just him kind of trying to temper expectations for the summer, and which makes me think that not sell to buy, but we'll need to move players on. And if we do renew some big contracts, that's going to make it more difficult to sign bigger players, and it's oh Christ, here we go again, you know. So
Well, I mean, just from being the league winners in the Champions League winners, at least, we did bank a reported 82.7 million, for instance. That includes a starting fee of 15.5, includes the additional 9.2 million for reaching the knockout stages. That's a nice bit of change. It would have helped if we continued on and had and even lumped in more of the wins, and certainly gotten the spoils from that to be able to, put towards paying bills and and keeping our aspects high for this transfer summer that's coming up. And it is something that I think that is going to be just that. It is going to be a summer where we do get some type of transfers in and possibly out of this team, primarily because it will be one step closer towards a truly a year of a slot being able to fully evaluate the players that he likes, that he needs, that he wants to keep, and also allowing that to be assessed by his backroom staff, that is going to be the drivers of being the conversation starters with those players and clubs to get those players involved in our club as well. But I know that it is a big question to ask. Is Isak even worth breaking the bank for? I mean, but would bringing Isak, I'll ask this question: would bringing Isak in, let's say hypothetically, Isak pushes for the move? Okay, let's just say hypothetically. It's a hypothetical, people. Don't get too crazy with it. All right, and that's just to help spur the conversation. So Isak's pushing for the deal. We are the team that he's interested in going to. Would bringing in Isak force a change in Liverpool's attacking structure? Would it change the attacking structure for us? As would it impact our wingers, for instance? Most notably, would it impact Salah or even Cody or Lucho, whoever's on the left wing? Would it impact, or whoever's on the right wing, because there's no guarantee it'll be Salah, but all the same, let's just hypothetically say Salah's on the right wing. Is it going to impact our structure if we start funneling our attack through a central number 9, or is it going to be a case where we're going to ask for Isak to just be still a second option as opposed to a first option, which is obviously our wingers? I'll ask that of Brian first this time, then I'll ask Delonte the question. Same question.
Well, I think it would improve us. It would impact us in a good way, yeah. It would give us someone better through the middle that can do what Jota can do. Jota might be contributing in different ways, but there's nothing he does that an Isak couldn't do. I think it would improve us. It would give us more. It would give more room and more space to other people, probably. I mean, it's. I wouldn't say, oh, we've got two crappy kind of performers up there at the moment, so obviously we want another crappy performer. I don't think so. So we bring him in. He lights it up. I think good players can play together, but I just can't see. Right now I've just completely gone off the idea of it, because it's just the amount of money involved, and then everyone will want to talk about his injury record.
I wasn't going to even bring that up. I don't even.
No, but other people, everyone talks about his injury record. Isn't that bad at all, really.
As he's
No,
been relatively fit lately. I haven't
yeah,
really. That's been like the last. That's at first, yes, that was a concern initially. Going into the year, certainly that was a concern considering it was more of a vocal part. But this year he's been relatively. I mean, he has been out of the lineup once or twice, but
yeah,
I mean that's
nothing abnormal.
yeah. Everyone pretty much can expect that for the most part.
Yeah. I mean, are you asking simply, does he upgrade? Yes, he's an upgrade. Uh, does he fit? Like, is he someone who can't play or fit in our team? Of course not. Of course not. He can play in our team. What would Slot's plans be? Don't know. Uh, but yeah,
Yeah,
I think he'd be fine. I think he'd work. He'd
yeah,
work very well. But
yeah. Sorry, that is true. I saw that the Robbo beat Isak in that race on Sunday. I saw that. When I saw that it was Isak and Robbo, first thing in my mind was like, "Uh-oh, here comes trouble. Here comes trouble." But Robbo put it into overdrive and got there. So it didn't. The result is still a loss, but all the same, it wasn't. At least that wasn't a narrative being spoken on today about how Robbo's pace is gone and this and that and blah blah blah. It was funny.
no, I just, to be honest, I'd rather spend 65 on two top players than 150 on Isak. As much as I would love to have Isak, I just think we could do a better job. But yeah, maybe what did they get him for? I think it was like 68 million. Pretty much what we paid for Darwin. It's similar prices, So maybe if we were going to get him, that was probably the time to go and do it. But JK is here, and I let the boys go.
And heck, I don't know about that guy too much. João Pedro, maybe. I know there are people out there that are very big on Baliba, or Baeba, maybe. Where is he from?
He's from Cameroon.
Oh, he's from Cameroon. Okay, then
Yeah.
it's probably Baliba. There was, I agree with Bright. Give me multiple good players for 150. Yeah, last season we needed to sell and upgrade. He's saying left back, center back, mids, and also our striker position now this season, and right back if Trent goes, CB if VVD leaves, right wing if Salah. Yep, a lot of different things. Big up, Maddie Mad. We'll run back and listen to the show later. I'm out. Stay frosty. Okay. I don't know if that's Cole Palmer status or not, but I got you. That was from Eddie Mad, big up. And Norm is saying he would bring in a DM, a left-sided center half who can cover at left back, and depending on the forward, bring in a forward. All right. Big up Red Armchair Supporter, by the way, in the house too. The Notorious PIG. I just like saying that. It's kind of funny. But we also have our version of the Notorious BIG, JK in the house. How you doing?
Hey, baby.
There you go.
But easy, bros. I hope you're cool.
Oh man, it is an interesting day today. Big up Edward. Signed the contracts and not much money in the transfer market. Typical. That's what Edward is saying. Serious question. Is it bad if you can't face social media after a loss? I'll be serious answer. It's not bad if you can't face social media after a loss, simply because social media can sometimes be a very toxic place to be. And not only that, it can be, it's not necessarily, I don't want to say vindicating, but it's not necessarily an easy place to be, simply because there's a lot of people that can hide behind a keyboard. Like, as in, for those of us that, either put our likeness on the screen, or those players that go out and play, or the coaches that go out and coach, their faces are up in front of you. You know who they are. You've created whatever kind of relationship you have with those people. And then, unfortunately, on social media, people can go way too far where they start attacking. They not only just go beyond just critiquing your play, they go into critiquing you as a human being. Then they also go maybe even further to critiquing you, critiquing your family, your children, your spouse, stuff that's way out of bounds. So yeah, some of those things are difficult areas to go into. But JK,
for me, it isn't it. Yeah. I just what you're saying there, bro. For me, it's not even. I'm not even worried about what other fans are saying, because for me, it's most of it's jealousy anyway. They love to be in our position in the last weeks. For me, it's our own fans. That's the one that can do your fucking head in,
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Because a lot of people, a lot of these. I mean, like, look, a lot of these, exactly what Edward just said. Would these people say it to an individual's face? Most likely, they wouldn't. I mean, that's just the honest truth. Sometimes you see some of these people, like, and you have your ties in the of AFTV fame or something like that, and I'm like, would he say it to? Would he say some of the comments that he said about players or their likeness to their faces? Maybe he might. Would it be a funny result? Yes, it certainly would. Because yeah, you'd be like, I didn't even know a person could fit in a suitcase, or something like that, because yeah, there would definitely be situations for those types of people. But JK, we're asking questions about some little things. We're going to jump into this next segment too. But I'll let you get a last little slice of the pie here from what we were talking about, because I'd asked Brian about, would bringing Isak force a change in Liverpool's attacking structure, which I think it would. I mean, it would force you to make some different changes. But there's a question I had, though, and this is something I wanted to ask not only you on the panel, but also I wanted to ask, I want to ask you in the chat too, this question. We've all had this level of expectations for a certain number 9 on our team, being that of what we expect from him, how we rate him, and what I mean by expect of him, as in the results, the outcome, the output, the offensive output that we're supposed to see from this player. And often that is connected to the price tag that is associated with the player. Now, being that he was a 60, I think it was like 60 some odd million pound player, he had add-ons to his contract, or to the transfer, excuse me. But initially, he was a 60 some odd million pound player. That was the base amount that he was for. If you were to say that, let's just call it 70 million to make it easy. Okay. He was more, I think it was more like 65 million, but let's just call it 70 million to make it easy. And I'm going to do a double check too to get the exact price it was for him. Why I'm bringing that up, and I'm going to look up real quick. Give me 2 seconds here. Why I'm bringing that up is because 64 million pounds is what we paid for him. 64 million. Why I'm bringing that up is this. A, would we then have a heightened expectation as to what we would expect to get in return for a $100+ million player in like an Isak. Okay. And if that's the case, what number output makes you say that was a buy worth getting? What does that player have to do in output level for you to say that's money well spent? I'm going to ask that of JK. Because let's just be honest, that's how people do it. So, playing that game, I guess you could say, let's just put it into those terms. What is it that you're expecting? Because I know that personally, I think that Isak could be on the pathway to becoming world class. Absolutely. Absolutely, yes. Phenomenal talent. But he is not world class currently. He's not world class. Let's not get it twisted. But is he on the pathway to becoming world class? Absolutely. In my opinion. I just don't think that Isak is world class at the very moment. And the reason why I say that is because you should have to have like some real foundation behind it. But the question is that what is it that would make you say money well spent for output? JK.
Yeah, am I a big fan of his? I think he's a top little player. But I think about 25 goals, Premier League goals. Yeah, about 25. I'll be looking at 25 plus, considering how much chances we make for him. But the thing is, what Brian said earlier, I wouldn't pay all that money for him, and then we can get 2 more guys in for the price we pay for him. I look at it like that as well. I also agree with Norman. I wouldn't want to sign Isaac for some reason. I think he's a top player, bro. I think he would do really well if he did come for us. But it's the price. That's it's going to be massive.
It's massive.
And
massive.
His age, he's 24. So age-wise, he's sound. That looks like we'd have to move Darwin and Yota on. My personal opinion. One would definitely have to go. But for me, who else is there to look at? It's going to be crazy money, whoever we look at. That's my opinion.
Okay. Bonkers. Elaborate on that for us, Bonkers. He says, just because he ain't at a better club don't mean any footballer ain't world class. It's not ain'ts, but
no, it's true what you're saying. If he was playing for, say, Real Madrid this season, would he be banging that many goals in? If he was playing for Man City, would he be banging that many goals in? I think he probably would be, my opinion. He's a goal scorer. He loves playing against Liverpool. And Helio's saying he's going to be 26 this year. Okay, so he's 25 right now then. Price is going to be 120, 130, 140. It could be whatever. It's going to be 100 plus.
I'll see. Let me see what you were talking about.
That's what I'm thinking as well, Norman.
He is 25.
Feel like if he came to us, he ain't going to connect. He ain't going to just do it for us. I don't know what it is. I just got that funny feeling as well. I'm not sure if he will suit us. I don't know, man. He's one of them. But him working well with Gordon shows me he works well with wingers. So that means he isn't just like a ball really type of guy. He wants to work well with the wingers, So for me, him working well with Gordon is a plus for me.
I agree, Edward, too, by the way. I understand exactly what you mean by that. I've heard people say this. He says, we can't break up a title-winning team. We need to add to the squad as opposed to, totally rebuild the squad.
That's the old school way, bro. Bob Payne.
Yeah, I agree with that completely.
I like that.
I don't like tinkering with chemistry too much. When a team works well together, you figure out pieces and parts that can be obviously retooled or I always like to say rather I wouldn't say refurbished, but like as in when you say rebuild, someone thinks of like, oh, you're just starting from the ground up. You're gonna just start building a new one, building a new project. But I'm looking at it as like reinforcements. Like I would like to find reinforcements for what we have and to, obviously move on from pieces that either want to move on or maybe too old to be still moving on with, or, maybe even those that are too broken down possibly to be going forward with. But it was just a question. I was hoping to get it real quick survey, I guess, because what High Lord did say is pretty spot on too. By the way, whether you think Isak's world class or not, his price tag that's being atoned with them or connected with them would make you say if that's not the price for a world class player, what the heck is? If 120, 140, 150 plus isn't associated with a world class player, I don't know where this market has definitely gone into a different place for all of us.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Well,
real quick. Well, I was going to ask though, real quick, 3 quick, yes, no question, answer type thing. Isak, world class? Yes, no. Brian?
Look, the world class thing is
Yeah,
through anyway.
I know.
Right
Under your terms. Of what
right
world
now
class.
he's probably the best striker in the Premier League on his current form. But someone said it there earlier on, something like do it for a couple of years. If he's had a world class season. If he'd done it for two and a half seasons, then yeah. But it's a bit. It's 50-50. It's 50-50. Sorry, I can't. But just you said it yourself. Just to answer your previous question. You said it yourself. If you're a striker and you cost a huge amount of money, then even though everybody knows you don't put the price tag on yourself. If you're a striker and you cost an enormous amount of money, then you're expected to score goals. You said that yourself. Who did you say that about?
I just said that about Isak. Yeah.
No. Previously, you said if you're a striker and you cost a huge amount of money, then even though you're not putting that price tag on yourself, sorry, but you are expected to score goals.
Right.
Who did you say that about?
Are you trying to talk about Nunez, I guess?
No.
I don't know. I don't tell me who I said about.
When we were talking about overrated players, you said that about Andy Carroll.
Oh, Carroll.
You said, I'm sorry, Andy, but I know you didn't put that money in yourself, but if you're a striker, you come in, you cost that much money, then you're going to be expected to score goals.
Yeah,
so
for the time, for that time, that was
that
like
money.
record-breaking. Yeah,
exactly. Same with Nunez for us. Same with Isak. If we brought him in, so you're asking like, what's the number? To make you worth the money. If you were to spend that kind of money on someone, we don't need to become experts. You're going to be, well, I'm sorry, we went out and spent a ton of money on this guy. Obviously, we bought him to do what he's good at, which is score goals. So if we brought Isak for that kind of money, you'd want him to have the same kind of output. Forgetting about but would he play this? Would he play that? He would come in, he would be bought as a number 9, as a striker, as a centre forward. Then we would expect him to be one of the leading goal scorers in the Premier League. Basically, is what you would be. You'd expect him to be up in the top 2-3 of the goal scorers in the Premier League, high teens, low 20s. And so world class, he hasn't done it for 4 or 5 seasons. So you can't say, oh, he's world class. For me, world class means if you're putting together a 16-man squad, and you can pick any player on the planet, does he get into that team? And right now, he's pretty bloody close. But does he definitively get into your starting 11 of you can pick any 11 players on the planet? Is he going to be your striker? He'd be quite close to it. Some people might have him in. I'm sure a lot of Newcastle fans would probably have him in it. But for us to just go out and put down that amount of money on one guy, I think it wouldn't work for us because we don't have the leeway to kind of go, that didn't work.
Mhm.
You know, it's just, I think he'd be cleverer and get. So right now, is he world class? No, but he's right on. If he did that again next year, especially in the Newcastle team, you know, I would say yes, he is a world class striker. I think he's a world class finisher, but we all know what happens. People go to big clubs, and next thing, where's that Isak from last year gone? You know, he goes to Barcelona, he gets 12 goals. It's like, where's that Isak gone?
Mhm.
So you just don't know. When someone leaves one team and goes to another, it's always a gamble. Unfortunately, you can minimize it down to as many finer points as you want, but it's still always going to be an unknown to a degree. And I don't think we spend that kind of money on someone, you know, and not that we be hoping it works out, but I'm just rather spend 120 on two players, a number 10, a false 9 and a winger or something like that, and you get them for 60, 65 each, then put all your eggs in one Swedish basket, you know. As nice as I'm sure their baskets are, very well
Okay,
made,
there you go.
very
There you
trendy,
go.
you know, very nice, very fashionable, very stylish, but you know, a hell of a lot of money for one guy and just putting it all
It is a
because you
lot
can
of money.
imagine.
It is a lot of
Yeah,
money.
look, come on, look, forget and try not to make anything about Nunes again, but imagine the pressure that would be on Isak's shoulders if we brought him in for north of 110 million, north of 120.
He'd have to score. I mean, that's the part why I'm asking that
But
question
score every,
of world
that's, yeah, 20
class.
goals,
That's,
20,
I'm asking that
20
question
goals.
because if you're going to bring in a 120 million
Yeah,
pound striker, he would have to
pressure's
score
on.
Holland style goal tally returns for you. That's kind of like level of player you would expect to have if you're going to have a player that you just spent 120 million on. It's a
Yeah,
lot of
pressure's
money.
on you.
That's
Pressure's on
a
you.
low. That's probably a low ballpark figure. I mean, again, there are some reports have had him anywhere from 120 to 140, if not 150 and above.
Well, you get
So
your
that's a
prem
lot.
tax. You'll
It's a
get
lot.
your prem tax as well.
Yeah.
You know, to them to sell us.
To a
I mean,
rival, right, or not rival, but like someone that you're competing with for,
well, yeah,
the
it's mud in your
title.
eye,
You don't
isn't
want
it?
to, yeah,
It's mud in
yeah,
your eye. It's like your neighbor across the road. It's like
exactly. Yeah.
takes your girlfriend. You know, it's like you don't want to see her coming out of your neighbor's house every day, do you? You want to, if she's going to leave you, you'd rather she went and moved out of state.
Right.
You
Yeah.
know,
Totally.
it's just you
Totally.
don't really want to be able to say, "Oh, he left us because Liverpool is better than us." You want to say, "Look, oh, Real Madrid, how could we stop him moving to Real Madrid?" You know, oh, it's a huge club. If for us to come in and go, we want to take your best player, you know,
Well.
we're muscling in. You know, it's
Mm-hmm.
they're going to ask for every penny they can get out of us, and we're just going to walk away. We will
Okay.
walk away at that stage.
That's okay, and I will admit that was a little bit longer than a yes no answer, but I take he.
What are
So
you talking about?
world class, yes or no?
Who's got bone stage cancer?
Me talking to me?
No, who's talking about? Sorry. Oh no, sorry. I'm muttering. Sorry, just the thing in the chat about. I won't bring it up. I won't bring it up.
Okay,
Sorry.
okay,
You
yeah,
have
yeah, yeah. Please.
a conversation about something there. I don't know what it is.
Um. Okay, so what I was saying is yes, no. Just give us a yes, no, though, if you could. I know you were on the fence somewhat. You said it's 50-50, but if you had me pushed to it. pushed to say yes or no?
Yes.
You'd say yes. Okay. Nolante, if you're pushed one way or another on the world class, is Isak world class? Before we go on to this next segment is just as controversial as if anything, it probably even more controversial than I have lined up. So I definitely wanted to get this last answer before moving on. Jake, how about okay, Nolante?
No, he's not world class, but he will be very soon. Not yet.
Okay.
Not yet.
Okay. And JK, world class?
He's finishing, yes. Right now, yeah. World class finishing, bro. But
Is he world class though?
I would say he will be in 2 years.
In 2 years. Okay. Jeez. All right.
He's on the right path, bro.
I know. I'm not disputing that. Not disputing it at all.
Well, do you reckon?
I'm not saying that he's not on the path towards world class. Absolutely. I said he's not world class now, but I think that he is on the pathway to becoming world class. Certainly. If he continues to, get better and better, he will be a world class player, especially if he continues to put up numbers the way he's putting up numbers. Absolutely. But currently doesn't have enough of a track record for me to say yes, he's world class. But he's certainly got the potential to become one. All right, well, let me change up the gears here real quick. I do think he's overpriced, though. I will put that.
Yeah, me too. Too much. It's crazy money.
This is because Highler's asked me if Isak isn't world class, then he is way overpriced. I think he is overpriced, but then again, I think for certain reasons, at least for us, he would be overpriced, and that's because the market is pretty wild and crazy. Look, you know what? I don't think that. I know people keep saying 80, 85 million. No, Nunez is not an 85 million pound striker, even though like I said, his original base price for his transfer was 64 million. And that was a base price. It wasn't a buyout clause. So therefore it wasn't like all that money had to be put up front. So there's a little bit different context into how that price gets divvied up and had to be paid out, and how that price could be looked at as being more palatable because of the way that they have to go about paying it. Take into that context as well the sheer fact that the majority of players for a striker role are going for 60 million plus currently. Simple as. Do I think Ollie Watkins is a 65, 70 million pound striker? No, I don't. Ollie Watkins is a good striker. Don't think he's worth 70 million. Do I think Solanke is a 65 million pound, 60 some odd million, 65 million pound striker? No, don't. Not one bit of it. But is the market there? That's what the market says. So therefore, when you look at it, that's what you're getting. Then you add on what, like again, I said, Brian spoke on earlier, that Premier League tax, especially when it's a Premier League team buying another Premier League team's player, chances are you're going to get taxed that way. And even if it's not a Premier League team buying you, guess what? The Premier League is looked at as being one of the most, affluent or richest leagues in the world. So when another team, like a Portuguese team or a French team or something along those lines, have a player that's going to be sold to the Premier League, they put on what I think of as a Premier League tax. They would have sold that player for, 40 million euros. But when it becomes a Premier League team involved in it, all of a sudden it goes to 50 million. So that's why I think that, yes, he's overpriced. And also why I think he's at that. His price tag is at that enormous level. And then you factor in also this last factor. His club owners are rich AF, so it's not like they're hurt. It's not like that's going to their angles or their focuses on money portions of it are a little bit different settings. But I wanted to get into this next segment because we're coming up on the hour mark. And I want to make sure we get in all the segments I have for us today. And what I wanted to put was let's assess. I wanted to assess the expandability of key players and potential roles. Now, let's, like I said, shift gears to something that might make a few of you uncomfortable. I understand that. But that's a question of what if we lost one, if not multiple, of our stars? The constellation wouldn't be the same, obviously, without the belt of Orion being Salah, VVD, and Trent. Those are three massive names. But if push came to shove, excuse me, out of those three, who's the most indispensable? And out of those three, who would be the least impactful to you to see go? I'll ask that of Nolante.
Indispensable. It's hard. I'll go with VVD just. The least probably be Trent. I think we'll be able to cope with Trent. And just alternative our game in a different slight way, but we're okay. But yeah, it's difficult. It's really difficult. I guess VVD. Just. It's a hard one.
Okay. 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 Interesting. Oh, that's an interesting. Kevin, I'm going to bring up your question. I'm going to bring your question in a second. That's a very interesting. I have an answer for it, but JK, what's your answer to that question?
It will be Virgil as well.
Okay.
I just feel Virgil, the guy who keeps it all together. We will always score goals. We haven't really had that tested with Salah missing or whatever. He's played a lot of games.
Mm-hmm.
But I just feel Virgil is that guy, the main guy. He's captain. Him and Virgil, Salah are on sort of level pairing. So it's a tricky one. I just feel Virgil, captain, guy at the back. You always need that, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Okay. Realism Jarrett thinks VVD and Salah are the same level of indispensable. To be honest, in his opinion, we become weak in those areas without either. Hey, let's be honest with ourselves. I think in a game, in a final, where both VVD and Salah were there, I'll tell you this much: it was hella noticeable that Trent Alexander-Arnold was not on the pitch. I'll tell you that right now. It was very, very noticeable. And that's not a knock at Kwanzaa. I don't expect Kwanzaa to do Trent Alexander-Arnold things. I don't at all. But I did star Kevin's question, so I will be coming back to that, Kevin. I will be coming back to your question. Because that's a very good question. Or at least I thought it was very, very enlightened question. But Brian, you're up. What was your answer for that question?
So which would it impact us least if they left?
My question was who's the most indispensable of those three players? Yeah. Who's the most indispensable? of the three, and then who in your mind is who out of the three would you be the least chest fallen to see go? I'm sure you'd be chest fallen to see any of them go, but I meant like
well, yeah.
but-
Especially all three, they're in different positions.
stages, positions, stages of their careers, yeah.
Salah.
Okay. It's interesting. No one. It's just interesting. No one had Trent as being that one. And why I thought it was interesting is because like, all three of them are it's just a matter of preference, and it's all three of them could be easily the answer, or at least I would think all three of them can be easily the answer. But why I was thinking of maybe Trent because of one, he has a longer shelf life of asset value to the team considering he's younger. B, obviously he's one of the best in his position, just like the other two, and maybe even the Scouser angle of it too as well. But it was just I was just any of the answers.
That's
are
where I was
feasible.
going with you, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, the one we could most kind of do recover from.
Mhm.
I'd rather keep Trent and VBD out of three. But it's Hobson's choice,
Mhm.
or Sophie's choice, it's
Sophie's choice.
it's horrible. It's just which one do you I don't know. Yeah, I think everyone has a shelf life. Trent has got more years left under his belt, so keep him. VBD can probably play at his level for another 4 or 5 years, whereas Salah, can he keep going at the level that he's at right now for another 4 or 5 years? Probably not. So that's really, and if I'm forced into it, it would be that really.
Mhm.
Yeah, Sophie chose divorce. Yeah, yeah.
Oh wow. Oh, some Meryl Streep fans out there. I think that was her movie. I think, right? Wasn't that the one she got an Oscar for? I thought. Maybe not. I don't know. Which three? DVD for leadership. That's what Kevin says. All our attackers try to pass this out like he's their dad. Life without him, we may end up being a more fluid attacking team. Interesting. VVD is not just one of Europe's. That's what Notorious PIG says. Either VVD is not just one of Europe's best center halves, but also one of, if not Europe's best captains for any football team. Norm is saying Virgil is an absolute must stay. Kevin saying must be VVD. Okay. All right. It's just a question out there. I was just wondering. But I hope that we don't lose any of the stars.
Well, to what Healer is saying there, Healer is saying how important has he been? I think I got pelters for this at the start of the season, where I said we weren't relying on Trent as much. We weren't funneling things through him as much because Slot was preparing for life without him. Slot was aware of the fact, basically, this guy's not signing a new deal. I said at the start of the season, this is what it looks like is happening to me. He's trying to, just build a team that just has a normal right back in it rather than a team that's built around Trent. So I think that's part of that, is what I mean.
Okay. I like how the Notorious PIG put it into percentages. I appreciate that. Very chart oriented. I like that. But okay, yeah. Those are tough. You're right. I remember that you did bring up those points about how maybe Klopp was kind of reading, was it reading the tea leaves, or and thinking that this was going to be possibly the last hurrah with Trent. But Salah, Virgil, Trent, three massive names, obviously. And if push came to shove, who's the most indispensable? That's a big question. I mean, Salah's a goal machine, creator, obviously a talisman on our team, living Premier League legend, as well. Losing him would take away our biggest source of goals on this team. Virgil van Dijk, our defensive rock, leader, organizer, best, in my minds, the best center half I've seen in my lifetime, of watching football, at least. He might be aging, but his presence is irreplaceable. Trent, playmaker from the right back, if not from the inverted position. Set piece wizard. Obviously hometown boy, and also our vice captain. Perhaps it might be in some people's minds. Obviously, the panel had him as being the easier to replace out of the three, but
No, I had Mo.
Oh, you had Mo being the easier to replace.
No, yeah, no. I was asked which of the three is the most is the one that I would let go if I had to let go of one.
Oh no, I said indispensable. Indispensable. That was the word I used.
Oh, I thought you were asking like which. No, like I was saying like of the three, if I had to let go of one of them, it would be Salah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I said indispensable. Like as in which of the three is the most indispensable? And then I did say, which one would be the most dispensable out of three if you had to choose one. But I did. But the main part of the question was indispensable. But I give it. With an aging VVD and injury-prone Konate, we had to change to a more regular right back in Jared's humble opinion. Okay. Well, this is slightly off because this is some the next segment is about these transfer rumors that are starting to build now. As we're going to slowly but surely run out of things in the comment or things to talk about. So now the transfer mess starts to continue to build and build. And there was a debate, and this is something Alante could go possibly speak on too. But there was a debate being had about Dominic Szoboszlai. Now, this isn't about our three players I'm talking about earlier, obviously, but there's a debate about Dominic Szoboszlai. And what was unique about this debate, and it's a question that I wanted to ask you in the chat, especially you in the chat, but you in the panel as well. The question came up about Dominic Szoboszlai being anything but just a runner, basically, was the question. Like, as in, supposedly in some of the panels, not this panel, but on another show's panel, they were looking at Dominic Szoboszlai as not only being not good, but just that, not being a goal scorer, not being capable to handle the 10. And also a glorified squad player, and that he was overpriced. Do you hold that same opinion about Dominic Szoboszlai? That's that of JK, actually, to start off.
Bro, we paid a hefty fee for Szoboszlai, and I feel in the week we really needed him. He never stepped up, bro. PSG game at home, Newcastle game at Wembley.
Okay.
He has shown signs of stepping up. Tottenham away 6-3, the Man City away 2-0. He's had a few good games in the last 2 months, I would say. So he has stepped up. But the week I really wanted him to keep stepping up was that week we just had. I don't understand it, bro. What is it with the lad? You know, like he never got involved in the final, he never got involved in the PSG game. Disappointed.
Okay.
Disappointed. It's a big fee we paid for him, bro. It ain't that we got him for 35 million like we normally get players. We paid like 70 million euros. I know it sounds more because it's in euros, but it was about 60 odd.
Mm-hmm.
So it was a big fee, bro. And I'm still not
What's a big fee?
really happy with the lad.
Okay.
I say he can get better. He can get better 100%. Like there's a player in him, don't get me wrong. But why didn't he do that against PSG? Why didn't he do that against Newcastle? 2 big games where he could have said, you know what? I've arrived. Like for me in that Tottenham 6-3 game, he arrived in that game. What a game he played in that. And the Man City away. So for me, I just don't understand that one. So what did he do in that week you just had?
Okay. Do you think he's not a good 10?
I think he
Or even go
can
further,
be.
do you think he's not a good player?
No, he's a good player, bro. I've never really doubted his sort of technique, his work rate. He's got it all there, bro. I think it's his mindset sometimes that lets him down. Last season he had problems off the field with his girlfriend, this, that, and the other. This season he sort of put that away and he sort of concentrated more on his game.
Mm-hmm.
He works well with Salah. He works well in the attack. He can score goals. I like him as a 10 if he plays the 10 in that attacking energy he can do it in. Yeah.
Okay.
Like he's an 8, really. He plays like on the right. So he's up and down there. He drops into the middle sometimes. So he's up and down, you know what I mean, bro? You can't sort of question his work rate. But for me, with a guy with his talent, he should be doing a bit more.
Okay. Okay. How about for you, Luante?
Dom is a tricky one. I mean, I heard. I don't know if again I'll call the show out. Don't know the show that you're referring to, but I think well, I just saw a clip of it once. Big Six. I heard them talking about it, and Kojo, the failed comedian, was saying he's trash. He's dead food. Yeah,
He's that food.
That's from the failed comedian. But anyway, I won't get into that. But yeah, and obviously they had the opinions, and I think Jamie Phillips made for once a valid opinion about Sobol, but then his take about Bruno, which is fair enough. His opinion is wild. The best number 10. But look, with Sobol, he's a good player. He's not a crap player. Like again, whether fans, and this is the problem, whether fans like a player or not, they're not dead. They're not crap dead. Like because at the end of the day, they made it as a professional footballer. And some of these people that want to, just get emotional, they ain't. So I think we just need to take that into context. You know what I mean? But in terms of Sobol, I don't think he's number 10 for me. Not number 10 for us in the 10. I just feel he's had good moments this season, and there's some reasons he's been found wanting. But again, there's that, and again, Slot, the arrogance of Slot as well, the arrogance of not rotating. That hasn't helped as well. And again, but if we're talking about playing, I've said it from the start, but I believe he's better further back. I believe he's better in the 2 with a Grav or Matt because he can do his running. He can get the ball to deeper better. And, if he can get a chance, he can shoot. We just need a number 10. He's just more cutting edge. It's like Harvey. Now, people say, Harvey's not good or this and that. Fine. If Harvey wants to go, then get me an upgrade. I don't want to hear Gibbs White or anything like that. That's not an upgrade for me. I want a world class number 10. But for instance, Harvey in the cup final, what did he do? And yes, he came on, and I heard people saying, "Oh, but Newcastle were tired and stuff." It doesn't matter. You got to be in it to do it, whether you're sub or not. The subs have come on; they haven't affected the game. It is what it is.
Right. Yeah, do you think
I
that
mean,
it's because like Newcastle's tired? Was he supposed to be like, oh, okay,
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
sorry.
So,
I'm not going to turn up.
12.
All right,
Yeah.
you know,
This is what I'm saying, and I'm hearing this for other fans and even our own fans. It's just stupid, and it's like, well, exactly. What do you want to do? Like, what do you want the guy to do? You know what I mean? Should he just stand there like a statue, and just say, "Oh, you know what, man? Everyone's tired. I'm not going to do anything." But
yeah.
again,
Oh, I'm sorry.
yeah,
I
I
didn't
mean,
mean to wake you. I'm sorry about that. You know, yeah, that's silliness.
I know, tough
It, it,
madness. Anyway,
it is. It is.
madness.
You brought up a good point though, Nolante, and
Mm.
you're talking about and you mentioned I was going to bring up what channel it was, but all good. It's out there.
Oh,
So
okay.
in
Oh,
the
no, sorry.
debate,
Elaborate.
no worries, no
Yeah,
worries. In
yeah.
the debate, they're going back and forth about it. Cal was arguing the fact about like something that I would argue at least, and that is it about having a player that is quote unquote your vision of what a 10 is supposed to be? Or is it more important about having a player that can get the duties and job specifics or criteria of what that coach wants for his system? Because let's be honest, I heard people in that conversation, I heard them trying to equate the fact that because Damas Baslai is not what everyone would envision being. I'll say everyone because there is a natural definition of what a 10 is. Okay. With that said, Damis Abasalai offers different skill sets and different talents and qualities than your prototypical number 10. And in this system, this coach has remarked about the fact that would he like to see more goal output from him? Absolutely. But what he did remark about was the fact of this guy's engine is undoubtedly top class and an incredible asset and something that is certainly a asset to be utilized when you have players, when you have a midfield that is going to have to deal with, creating triangles, creating different types of abilities to allow for other players to go forward and have coverage and the likes and be able to cover so much ground. It was noticeable again, and to bring a long story short here, it was noticeable to hear when they were when it was Mont or Kojo, right, making their quote unquote points. They kept talking about a 10 under what they have in their minds as being a 10. And I thought of it as the same reason, same argument I've been having with a lot of people when it comes to, for instance, our striker. Some of these roles on this team, albeit they might have a certain number on their back, or they might be in your mind, oh, they're playing a certain role, as in maybe they're playing a 6, or maybe they're playing an 8 or a 10 or a 9, whatever the case might be. But those roles in the coach's mindset seem to be different than the ones we as fans are looking for, maybe even asking for. And I think that that's something that people are overlooking a little bit. And I would ask, is that your interpretation too, Brian, or do you have a different interpretation of that?
Look, people can think what they want. People, we don't play with a number 10. Nobody plays with a number 10. People play in the number 10 position on the pitch. Completely different. Dominic Szoboszlai's job is to be part of what we do and then also get involved higher up the pitch. I've always said he's playing within himself. I think he's playing without confidence sometimes, and he's lost that kind of maybe being the main man for Hungary, main man for Red Bull, not the main man here, not the only guy. So he's gone into his shell a little bit, hasn't really shown, only in glimpses, what he's capable of doing. With the coach coming out praising his running, his work effort, and all that, you know, you also need to contribute at the top end. That's what you're here for, is to work hard, be part of the team. But there's no one coming out and saying, "Oh, we didn't buy him to contribute with assists and creativity and goals. He's just here to run the channels, and we just give the ball to Mo. That's all we do. Everyone is here to run and work hard and just give the ball to Mo. No one is expected to score. No one's expected to get assists. It's just give the ball to Mo." That's kind of a bit of brainwashing going on, because these are the guys we have. It's 2 years now, and he's done it in fits and starts. The player that he is obvious. I'm still waiting to see it on a kind of a consistent basis, which isn't asking for 40 goals, 20 assists. It's just someone who uh, contributes more at the other end. Whether someone like Salah leaving might bring that out of him a bit more. Everybody always talks about people to just pass the ball to Salah. Maybe if you have more, it's spread around a bit more. You might see a different version of Dom, but he does it in certain games. Then the other games, he just becomes the kind of the midfield runner. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I think it does need to be a little bit more consistent. It does need to be a little bit more impactful in games, and not just get it into his head that he's just there to run and work hard, because he can do a lot more than that. And but again, no, we don't play with it like an old school number 10, where it's basically you give the ball to him and he creates everything. It's just he plays at the tip of the three, which is very different to being a number 10. He gives you everything you need in terms of effort and application and work, but then you've also got to be uh, someone there getting maybe 6, 7 goals and 8, 9 assists, and showing you why we bought you in as a top quality attacking midfielder, because he's an attacking midfielder. He's not a center mid. And yeah, then because like I say, we've seen it with all that nonsense at the start when he hit one from outside the box, and we've got the Hungarian Gerrard stuff. But yeah, um, I think he will probably, in the manager's mind, oh, he's not going anywhere. But uh, yeah, he will probably need to up it now. He's had 2 years in England, and he's got all the physicality, he's got all the technique. So we'd like to see a little bit more from him. Yeah, see a little bit more. Not asking for him to become, like I say, um, I don't know who you compare him to, like somebody that gets 11, 12 goals and 18 assists. No, but just to show his talent, show his ability, which he has, seen it in games. So, yeah, I think he's not at a crossroads, but I wouldn't blame him for, I'm not going to slag him off for not being a world class number 10 or not being as good as Bruno Fernandes. Yeah, he's a different type of player, but I just think maybe it's a bit of a main man syndrome. He was used to having a lot of the play go through him, being the main guy, and he's not that at Liverpool. So I think, weirdly enough, for someone like him, I've always thought like it's just a confidence issue. Everyone remember me saying like he just needs that one game where he scores a goal and gets 2 assists, and then he'll be off. Then he'll be flying. And he did that a couple of weeks or a couple of months ago. He did really well, and again, the next few games didn't really pop off again. So yeah, he's not someone who's worried me at all in terms of, oh God, what have we bought here? Or this is never going to work out for him. I think he's a really solid top player, but even now, I would still be in the, and he is young as well. There's something about him that he carries himself. He seems a lot older than he is. He's still a very young player. Well, he was a years. He's still only in his early mid 20s. But definitely, I think there's a lot more to come from him. We haven't seen the absolute best of him over a 6-month period, which is I don't think is an unrealistic thing to ask for. But yeah, I think we should keep him. I don't want to sell him, but I definitely think there is more to come from him. Yeah.
Okay. All right. All right. Yeah. It was interesting because you know what? Why I felt like you get into into these conversations. I get that you get into a lot of these hyperbolic conversations with some of the panelists on, or and again, some of these panelists don't engage with the likes of like people like those content creators like myself or Brian or Nalante or JK or primarily because we're definitely not going to see, we don't see it from their perspectives a lot of times. But there was even a crazy this is why when I was hearing the person go on about it, it almost made me want to say, okay, you might want to put the microphone down and stop talking for a little bit. The person made the accusation that Dominic's not a good player because he hasn't physically told Trent Alexander-Arnold that he's going to take the free kicks now. Okay. Those are pretty much exact words. Was that Dominic Szoboszlai is not a good player because one of the few strong points he has, which is free kicks. He hasn't told Trent Alexander-Arnold to go kick rocks, and he is now going to be our our set piece taker. That was what was said. And I was just like, all right, my guy. You really hear? I'm like, do you hear what you're saying? The words come out like you're just having words come out your mouth, apparently. But all good. All good. Some people. Anywho, that was just a little something. This is a side thought. Let me get this question up I promise I get this question up for him before I go into the next subject here. And that is, Kevin asks, Liverpool 12th man, small diversion. Do you know Edwards not on LFC payroll and busy with multi-club options? Would you take Flamengo for 600 million or Isak for 600 million euros, or Isak for 150 sterling, basically? If we could have Flamengo as our feeder team in Brazil, I would take that over Isak. How about that? If you want a quick answer. If they were to play the part of being a feeder team and we can all of a sudden start streamlining Brazilian, if not South American talent into the team, I'm all for that. I would love to see more South American influence be brought to Liverpool. That's just my preference. I love Brazilian. I love South American football, much less just Brazilian football in general. So that's my answer. Does anybody want to take a crack at that one? I'll bring it.
I was talking if the lads want to stand there. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, for me that'd be like really nice thing to have a club in South America to get talents. That like look at Casado, cost 3 million or something. Really low sort of amount, and then Chelsea ended up paying 115 for him. So I don't know what they didn't do 30 years ago, bro. Tell you the truth, we should have done that a long time ago.
Mm-hmm.
But we have had a lot of South American players play for us, so we do go that way in football. Like not every club goes South American. We seem to do it.
Okay. Nalante?
Not Flamengo. Flamengo haven't produced anyone for a long time, so I don't know if it's another club. Then yeah, because I know people say Villa, but it's no guarantee. With Isak, you might have to pay it over the odds, but he'll give you more guarantee. For me, personally.
Okay. Okay. Brian?
No, I'm massively against all of this. I think if you spoke to a Flamengo fan and you asked them how they felt about being a feeder team for Liverpool, I think you'd wake up with two black eyes. Because that's not really how I would want to look at things. You can exploit the market, you can work in the market. You don't need to own another team, and as soon as you own another team, I just think you're look. This isn't something that I want to actually would even want to debate with somebody. I think this is just wrong. Multi-club ownership on every level is just wrong for me. I'm not saying it's wrong for you or Nalante or JK, but I do not want to live in a world where teams own other football clubs,
Yeah.
especially historic teams like Flamengo, because let's switch this around and we have a shit year or we have a poor period, and guess what? In a different alternative universe, the Saudi league is the biggest thing in the world, and Al Hilal want to buy us and talk about us as a feeder team. You can use the market, but it's for me, clubs should not be bought and owned by people who own other football clubs.
Yeah,
That just destroys the very fabric of football, as far as I'm concerned. So I don't want anything to do with that kind of thing at all. I just no.
Well, it does exist though, so
I'm not saying it doesn't exist. I'm just saying it's not a world I
I didn't say
enjoy.
you did say it doesn't exist. All I said
No,
was it does exist. I'm
it does
saying,
exist. Doesn't make it right
yeah.
though. So does murder.
Okay, well that's an extreme, but I mean, like what I'm trying
No,
to
but
say,
look,
what I'm
no,
trying to
it's
say is
just
that we are competing against clubs that do have already
Yeah.
established feeder systems in themselves set up. So
yeah, but much they have partnerships with smaller clubs and things like that. But just outright owning other football clubs and um even Dublin. No, I'm in Waterford, Kev. I'm from. If that's what you're asking, I'm in Waterford. Um, yeah, I mean that's just my opinion. It's political. It's what religion are. It's just for me. Um, I think you can. Yeah, people can do what they want. People are going to do what they want. We are part of that world now, and I don't like it. It's not something I enjoy. We can, like JK saying, we bought, but we don't often buy from South America. We bought South American players, but yeah, they tried to buy.
Indirectly.
You know,
Yeah.
yeah, people they're all out there trying to buy up other clubs and do other things, and then you've got an ownership group that owns three or four different clubs. And yeah, you just become a big mush of things that they
Yeah.
own.
Horrible.
So no, I just
I
leave
hope.
clubs alone and
mm,
be their own
Yeah,
thing.
and I hope Liverpool fans sort of step up when, like, we were after Bordeaux a few years ago. Was it last year, 2 years ago, or something? And there was a little bit of noise. There was a little bit of noise from fans. But for me, if you're a Liverpool fan, you don't want no club associated with us. 100%.
Father Brown, Father Brown said it's okay. Well, if Father Brown says it's okay, then go with it, Kev. You
there
do
you
what
go.
the parish priest says.
I'm going to ask you another somewhat controversial question. Do you believe that our current coach, is more suited to winning the league than he is to winning tournaments? The
No,
way that he,
well, mhm.
way he structures, obviously his approach towards lineup selections and the likes. Do you believe that he is more suited to winning leagues than he is to winning tournaments.
I'll quickly just answer that. Champions League, we finished top of the league, first phase of it. League Cup, we got to the final, lost in the final. The FA Cup game was God knows what happened that day. So for me, he's done okay in the cups. I think in the first phase of the Champions League, bro, he was smashing it. He could have won 8 out of 8 if he really wanted to. And it was just unlucky. We got PSG, one of the better teams in the second part of the last 16. If we had, say, Club Bruges, maybe it would have been better. You know, we can't really say this, that, and the other now. But for me, he's a good manager in that way of getting us to where we need to get to. Like, he got us to the final in the League Cup. He was getting this, like, bro, we finished top out of 34 teams. So he was doing right in that. I think he's just had a bad week and he's sort of messed up a lot of things, and queries have come in left, right, and centre. Oh, is he good enough for this? Is he good enough? Yeah, for me, what he's done this season straight up, he's done well. I just feel that what Nalante's been saying for a long time about bringing other guys in, resting guys, he didn't do that. And that sort of bit him in his backside.
Mm-hmm.
Hence why we sort of stumbled in that week against Paris and Newcastle.
Mm-hmm. Nalante? You have opinion on it?
I don't think it's a question of the league or cup 12 because he won a cup at Feyenoord, and like JK said, he got us to the League Cup. I just feel, look, the only game I'll give him a blight was the Plymouth game, because end of the day, there's nothing wrong with the lineup. It's just our players let us down in the day. He had to rest, and that's no problem. So that's nothing to do with him. It's the players that unfortunately let us down on that day. In terms of the other games, the Champions League and the League Cup, it's on him quite a bit because, again, he didn't rotate these players to be refreshed and rested for, and certain tactical tweaks that he's done good this season. But again, when the manager does wrong, you got to call him out. A little tactical tweaks in terms of lineups, either game and the rotation, and it cost us. That was arrogant from Slot, if I'm honest. And I'm going to be real, it's very silly for him to say 15 to 16 squad players. That's just a bit disrespectful to the fans. It's disrespectful to other clubs, because this league there ain't no other league like this. The intensity in play, you need to rotate.
Exactly. Mm-hmm.
And that's arrogance right there. Regardless of whether he thinks or whether he likes this player, that player. Listen, man, the Joses, Ancelottis, the Peps, Pellegrini, the Ferguson, you name it. Not that I would know, but I guarantee there's certain players that might think, that's not for me. But you know what? At the end of the season, I'm going to replace him with this player, but they're going to use them. You put your ego aside. Football, it's not about egos. You put ego aside and use these players. If he doesn't rate Endo, Chiesa, again, we're speculating. We don't know. He probably does, but use them. Your players are burning out. Use them. Be smart. Use them. Let them refresh. Let them be ready, and they can go again. And who knows? We'll be sitting in different. But as JK said, it's all bits and maybe. So yeah, but I just think he needs to just not be arrogant again in the future in regards to that word he said about the squad and rotating our players.
Okay.
Yeah, just carrying on what Nalante's saying there. I've not really talked about that week we've just had, really, because I just thought, you know what, it just took so much energy out of us that we were going into the next phase of the Champions League by beating PSG at home, winning the League Cup. Everything was sort of rosy, you know.
Right.
But for me, I'm a bit disappointed in Slot not being clued up and thinking, you know what, we need someone out the midfield to do what Joe Linton's doing for our team. Or told one of the guys in the midfield to go after him and tell him to shut up. You know, that sort of mentality, like the Gerrard mentality. Maybe it's a British thing, what they do, where they tell, it used to be like that in England, where if one guy was giving it large, the other guy in the team will go up and sort him out. And I feel that we don't do that as a midfield. We're a bit lackluster in that field, you know. And I agree with what Norman says. We need a big time DM, bro.
Okay.
Imagine we had a DM bought in January somehow. We just bought a nice little DM in who's going to be better than Endo, maybe even better than Gravenberch at it. But he's going to come in and put a shift in for a few months, you know. Imagine we had that in that week we just had. And that's why I said we never brought no one to help us with what we needed. You know, because if you're not going to play Elliot, Chiesa, and all these guys, okay, Bryce, someone you're going to use in the next month.
Mm.
You know, so for me, I'm a bit peed off with the way. I'm not going to blame Edwards and that because for me, Edwards, if he gets money, he'll use it. If you don't, he ain't going to use it. You know what I mean? But he could have said, you know what, John, last season Liverpool faltered. Why? Because we didn't buy anyone in January for Klopp to help him along when Endo got injured. He ain't done the same this time as well. Edwards then had a word with John and said, hey, John, look, Gravenberch looks leggy.
Huh.
We might need someone to come in and replace him who's on his level, who's good at better than Endo, but he's going to cost us 30, 40, 50 million. But he's going to come in and make sure we win that Champions League as well as the Premier League. And that's why I got no respect for our owners and Edwards and all these type of people. God knows what they're watching. You know, and if Slot thinks 14, 15 guys are going to cut it, he's got another thing coming. Because if you can't do it with 23 guys, and you've seen how our three midfielders have struggled in the past month, the most important time of the season, them three guys have really sort of let us down. McAllister's played well in odd games, but as a whole, them three let us down, bro.
Yeah.
Starting Yotta as well. Another mistake Slot made in that week. 2 games, 2 big games, started in both of them. Couldn't find his feet in both. After the PSG game, for me, it was Darwin no-brainer starting at Wembley. You know, bring Yotta on a sub, change it around a bit, see what he might do something different, you know, coming on a sub. And I don't think Slot being stubborn in football is a bad thing sometimes. Because when you're stubborn and you're losing and you're not playing great, you're going to keep on doing that. So I think Slot, if he could rewind the clock and go back to the Monday before the day before the PSG game, second leg, he'll probably do some things a little bit different for me.
Brian, do you have something you want to add to that?
Well, it's his first time probably being at a club that's expected to win both. Yeah, in terms of being able to win a league and a trophy, he's gone pretty close to winning both in his first season. So, yeah, I know Lelante wasn't there the last night I did, and I was giving him props. I was telling him I was saying that me and him had been going back and forth on different things, and I was saying I was proven wrong completely in what I was saying, and a lot of what he was saying was completely right in terms of people running out of steam. I was sorry you weren't there on the night, Lelante, because I was trying to make the point that what you had been saying was spot on all along. And I mean, again, the players is a different thing, but in terms of rotation catching up on us in games like that. So the guy, again, maybe we might be reading a bit too much into the I only want 14 men. I think maybe it just means a smaller squad. And I think part of that is, I'll stand by, a part of that is the fact that he knows if you have big players, top players that aren't playing, you'll have an unhappy squad, and that can be an issue. But yeah, you can't expect those guys to go hell for leather and it not catch up eventually. And he was, Nalante was not just Nalante, JK was saying as well, that these boys ran out of legs, ran out of steam. So hopefully he will learn from that and be able to realize that that's not always going to be the way it is. But yeah, I mean, it's his first year. What does he do next year? I think, can he win 2 things in one season? I don't see why not. But yeah, I think, look, he's still a young enough manager. and managers change and they adapt. So hopefully he will look at that and realize that I got it wrong here. Like I said, I was eating humble pie, eating crow all night the other night. I was saying I got it completely wrong in terms of what I thought you would be able to do. And what the boys were pointing out was like, this will catch up on you. And yeah, it did catch up on us. It caught up us like we looked like a zombie team against Newcastle. And we got led around by the hand against PSG. So yeah, I think maybe right now he only does have that ability to say, this is what we're going to go for. We're going to go for this. And the other things will fall by the wayside. He needs to probably uh, step it up in terms of spreading the load. Maybe bringing in players that he trusts more will help with that. I don't know, but right now it looks like he only had eyes for the league once he realized it was there, and wasn't able to manage the, what would the word be, the the expectations of going in more than one competition. So yeah, I mean, right now I'm going to take this league and I'm happy with that. But after with next season coming along, hopefully he does have a slight shift in attitude, and we see more. Yeah, Plymouth as well. You know, we see more of a concerted effort to go far more than one competition. But it's tough. It's very, very tough to win this league. And I think he just said, look, 10 squad, go for this. And probably did sacrifice a couple of those cup competitions. And what he will learn, like I think Marion is saying there, at Liverpool, I think really going to cut the mustard.
Okay. Okay. Well, it was just a question. Here's a question for you. Okay, got you. If Luis Enrique was our manager, would we be winning, the Premier League, and would we be going further in UCL, and also would we have won the Caribou Cup? Anybody want to step up and answer that one?
Well, the Carabao Cup will be winning because he won't be as arrogant as Slot, and he will rotate our players because Enrique does rotate his players. He'll sort of make sure our players are fresh. The league and the Champions League, it's a difficult one. The league, yeah, I think he could be. Yeah, possibly. Champions League, I'm not sure. I'm not sure. But I think we probably go far. But I'm not sure. Winning it, I'm not sure about that.
Mm-hmm. I'm trying to find some information, by the way, on what everyone, or not everyone, but some have been posting in the chat here.
Oh, about Gravy?
Yeah, I'm trying to find something on that.
Well, yeah, if you come for, yeah, that'd be good. 12.
I don't. So far, I haven't seen anything. So
Hmm.
far.
Well, okay. Yeah, you guys in the chat. Where did you
So,
see the reports of Gravy injured?
yeah. So if anybody in the chat wants to put where they saw those reports, then I appreciate it. That way, it could help me out a little bit. Could help me out. I do not. So far, I am not seeing it.
The official Holland TikTok Twitter page said that after training camp this evening, the midfielder is still suffering from an injury sustained over the weekend that prevents him from playing in the match against Spain. So it must be from the weekend game against Liverpool, against Newcastle. Yeah. He's left the training, so he
Okay.
will be getting a rest. We all said he needed a rest. He'll get it now. If he's left training, so he'll probably go back home to Liverpool maybe.
Another warning to Slot there.
Yeah, I'm still looking to see another quote here. But all right. I hope that's not something so serious that it's we won't be able to see him be able to get back into it.
When you're tired, you're more likely to get injured, bro. The guy is just like he was running on his last legs the past month. We should have been clever and said, you know what? If he had a little niggle after the Newcastle game, we're not sending him to Holland training games. You know, it's Nations League, it's not World Cup qualifiers. So for me, he should not even been sent. He's definitely going to get involved in the big tournaments coming years. Don't get me wrong, Gravenberch. He's one of their best players. So for me, he should have said to the Slot, you know what, I can't go to the training. I need to rest this because I've had no legs the past month. I need to rest. Simple as.
Possibly. Okay. Yeah, Bernie saying Justin Brian Gravenberch has left the Netherlands squad due to injury. Did we see Frimpong talking like a scouser? I did not see that one, Edward.
Oh, yeah, there's a clip of that with
Oh yeah.
I can't remember.
What does he
Yeah,
say?
12 with gravy. You're right, lad. I think that's what it was.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's funny.
I
Yeah.
think he's a good player, Frimpong. Good little player.
But you see with Frimpong, he's good, but I don't think defensively he's that great. Attacking wise, he's
Yeah,
good. Like
he's
I
not.
think Trent's better defensively, and that's for me. That's for me saying something. Right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I don't
Why
think.
when you
I'm
hear
not really
someone say,
sold on.
yeah. Yeah, that'd be interesting to see. If given the set of circumstances, I just don't think Frimpong is exactly an upgrade over Trent. He's not better offensively, and he's certainly not better defensively to Trent.
Grade 12.
I just don't see it. All right. Well, I've given it a whirl here. I can't find anything that has anything to say. Look
Where you
on
looking,
Twitter.
bro?
There's only so much of Twitter that
Twitter.
you can keep looking.
It's there.
Okay.
Just go to the official Holland page. They'll get it on there.
Okay, so Gravenberch has left the Orange's training camp this evening. The midfielder is still suffering from injury sustained over the weekend that prevents him from playing in the matches against Spain. Take care, Ryan. Okay. I'm not really super concerned about that in that it doesn't sound like it's something that would take him out of contention of playing for us, just more so for Holland. And maybe it's something he doesn't want to push, kind of like try to play through. It's not like they're in a World Cup competition or something. So, so that's what it is. All right. Well, is there something you guys want to speak on before we wrap this episode up?
This time in 2 weeks, we'll be second half against Everton. Yeah. Seems like a long way away, But for me, Gravenberg's going to get rest now. Gapco is going to be training, maybe get a few game time, maybe get him ready for the Everton game. So, yeah.
Yep. Okay. Nolante?
Yeah, just big up everyone. Hopefully our players come international home free, gravy, or God, any more injuries. I'll be I won't be happy, and hope the last week has just got as a lesson to us and a lesson to our manager, and just don't be arrogant. Use the squad. Players have proved themselves. They've got credit in the bank. Don't be arrogant. Put ego aside. But in all said, once we mathematically confirm this league, then yeah, we'll kind of put this to the side. But as Brian said, you just got to learn better. And still a little bit annoyed. But yeah, we just move and just enjoy some time off as Liverpool fans, and then we get back to the business. And hopefully next month we'll wrap it in my birthday month. So yeah.
There you go. There you go.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Brian, is there something you wanted to say?
No, just enjoy your evening, and just look at that fixture list. Everton, West Ham, Leicester. That's that is not a tough run of games. Fulham away, Spurs. So I think at some point before the end of that run of games, we will definitely be crowned champions. I think.
Yeah,
Okay.
because Arsenal have to win their games as well. If we
They gotta-
lose, yeah, they got to win all 9 or whatever it is.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah.
People, these Arsenal fans all talking as if it's like a done deal for themselves too. Like, oh, it's easy to win 9 games in a row. Yeah, okay. All right. There you go.
No, I mean,
I do have
Thanks.
a bit of maybe like feel good moment or some maybe a little sentiment. This individual might not be with us currently, but he is certainly someone that is always in our hearts. So, look, you're feeling down, feeling low, just remember this guy right here has a heart. He's got heart for you. He's got heart for you. There you
I
have
thought you were going to say leave her. I thought you were going to say Lee.
it.
Oh, Lee loves Tracy.
Oh,
Yeah.
There you go.
There you go. There you go.
Yeah.
So yeah, but
oh, there's only one
yeah, it's
Jurgen.
gonna be a fun ride here because we have some time to kind of sit back, enjoy, breathe a little bit. Also, we have a little bit of time to kind of dive into some subjects that we might not have done so if we had other competitions that were looming or this and that. We've got a very important game, but it's a ways off from this moment. So we can definitely talk about some subjects, bring up some different parts and points. Just some interesting things. I have actually already a host of episodes already ready and willing to be used this upcoming week, much less the week that we have coming up after that, going into our Merseyside derby. And hopefully you'll be a part of those conversations and those, whether it's going to be, quizzes, game nights, whether it'll be also, some conversation on an actual court case ruling that's possibly supposed to be released this week, maybe the end of this week. Sometimes they like to do that. They like to kind of like release things towards the end of the week because people are less likely to be engaged over the weekend than they are to be engaged during the week for certain news. So, but we might be getting a ruling announcement pretty soon. We also have some episodes about the LFC multiverse. So So if you can, please do us the blessing and the favor, or however you want to look at it. But certainly do, if you want to see it as your duty, big up. Just do us the pleasure of being here with us in supporting our channel, supporting the guys' channels, their own individual channels that they have as well. Most importantly, just continue supporting each other as Reds. That's the most important thing. I try to make that emphasis, whether I'm on a panel, whether I'm in the chat, whether I'm, putting out a blog or putting out a post, whatever it is. It's all about, let's do our best to try to be supportive of each other. So we'll be back tomorrow. Tomorrow's episode is going to be a pretty interesting episode. I'll just leave it as a teaser as that. So for myself and for our panel, we wish you all the best and blessings to each and every one of you. And as always, up the Reds, people. Up the Reds. There you go. There you go. All right, my people. Peace and blessings definitely to you. And we'll see you tomorrow.